How did you find out someone was planning your funeral while you were still alive? My best friend killed 3 of our friends over the course of 2 years, and I almost became number 4. Larry and I had been doing these annual camping trips since college in the most remote spots possible with our tight group of 5 guys. I felt safe because Larry knew everything about survival and picked every location. But 2 years ago during our trip to the mountains, Colin slipped off a cliff while we were hiking. Larry was the one who found the body and called for help. He cried harder than anyone at the funeral. Colin had been rock climbing since he was 12 and always checked his gear twice. But Larry said he found Colin's harness still in his backpack. After the funeral, I mentioned this to Larry and his face went red. He stepped closer to me and said, "What are you trying to say, Sean? That I pushed Colin off that cliff?" I backed away and mumbled that I was just confused about the whole thing. His reaction made my stomach turn. A few weeks later, Larry showed up to our group hangout wearing a brand new Rolex and driving a BMW he said he got a great deal on. Then a few months later, Andrew got lost during a solo hike on our desert camping trip and died from sun exposure. Again, Larry organized the search party and was devastated when we found Andrew 3 days later. But Andrew never hiked alone and had told me just that morning he was staying close to camp. When I brought this up, Larry said grief makes people do stupid things. I tried to read his face, but he looked away quickly. After Andrew died, Larry immediately knew which funeral home to call and had already researched the best grief counselors in town. Within a month, Larry had moved into a luxury downtown apartment. When I asked how he could afford it, he said he got a promotion at work. Then last year, Diego died in a freak bear encounter while gathering firewood alone. Larry had supposedly warned him not to go, but Diego went anyway. 3 deaths in 2 years felt like too much of a coincidence. I started paying closer attention to Larry's behavior and noticed he always seemed to know exactly what to do when tragedy struck. Every time I tried to talk about the weird coincidences, Larry would change the subject. After Diego's funeral, Larry bought a boat and started taking weekend trips to expensive ski resorts. He quit his job saying he wanted to focus on entrepreneurship, but never explained what business he was supposedly starting. When Larry suggested we do a memorial trip for our 3 dead friends, I almost said no. My stomach twisted every time I thought about being alone in the wilderness with him. But Larry kept pushing, saying we needed closure, and that running away from our memories would dishonor our dead friends. He picked this isolated spot in the mountains where nobody would find us for days. I finally agreed because I had a plan in case Larry seemed twitchy. The night before we left, Larry kept humming while packing his gear and couldn't sit still during dinner. During the drive up, he kept talking about how this trip would finally bring closure to everything. My hands were sweating on the steering wheel. On our second night, Larry offered to take first watch while I slept. I woke up around midnight and saw him standing over me with a large rock in his hands. I pretended to stay asleep and watched him practice swinging motions above my head. Then he started talking to himself in this cold voice that didn't sound like him at all. 3 down, and after this one, I'll have enough to disappear forever. Sorry, Colin. Sorry, Andrew. Sorry, Diego. And sorry, Sean, but dead friends pay better than living ones. I waited until Larry walked away from the campsite. Then I grabbed my phone and texted 911 with our GPS coordinates. I told them to send everything they had because my friend was trying to kill me. Then I ran into the woods and hid behind a fallen tree. I heard Larry's footsteps crunching through the leaves, getting closer. His flashlight beam swept back and forth just inches from my hiding spot. Come on, Sean, this is getting ridiculous. I know you're scared, but we need to talk. A park ranger named Zoe found me first. She had been monitoring our area because of suspicious activity reports and got my emergency text. She kept me hidden while radioing for backup. When Larry finally tracked us down, Zoe stepped out with her weapon drawn and ordered him to drop the knife. Larry tried to run, but Zoe tackled him herself. After taking me back to her office, Zoe pulled out a folder thick with documents. Look at these signatures, Sean. Larry forged your name on a $2 million policy just last month. He's been taking out policies on your whole friend group. She had been investigating because insurance companies flagged the unusual pattern of payouts to Larry, totaling over $3 million. After that, Zoe became my closest friend, and I'm never going camping ever again.